Hey everybody, happy Tuesday to you. My name is Eric. I am a tax accountant with over 16 years experience in this industry, and I've also been in the crypto space for just about five. So last week when I told my family, hey, I'm thinking about starting this YouTube channel about crypto and tax and accounting and mining and all these things so I can help the community, a couple of family members were like, well, I don't even know what Bitcoin is. I can't seem to wrap my head around it. And some people watched the first video and said, I really liked your video, but I didn't really understand most of it. So I thought, video number two, let's talk about what the heck is Bitcoin. All right, I think it's easiest to start with something we all understand, which is money. Money is printed by a country, a government, maybe managed by banks. So the money is really regulated and controlled, by other people, other entities, and they kind of tell you what the value, of that money is. So what really makes Bitcoin different from our money? Well, the biggest thing is it's just not controlled by a government or a single entity or a country. Bitcoin exists only on a computer network, and it only is digital. There is no paper version of it. You can't print it. You can't carry it with you in form of like paper money or coins. Another big difference about Bitcoin is it doesn't ever close. Bitcoin is open 24/7. You do not need to convert Bitcoin into another currency like US dollars to Canadian dollars. Bitcoin can be sent any time of day, any time of the week. There are no such things as federal holidays or banker hours to Bitcoin. They are not going to be closed for, I don't know, President's Day or something like that. So anytime you need to use it, it's available for you. All right, so you might be asking yourself, how does Bitcoin even work? I understand how my money works, I understand how banks work, but I don't understand how Bitcoin works. Uh, there are two things to keep in mind with Bitcoin. Number one, decentralization. And number two is going to be blockchain. Well, there are two words that we're going to be focusing on and trying to kind of describe a little bit here. Decentralization isn't too crazy to understand. It is effectively just a group of people recording transactions at the same time and agreeing with those transactions. So it isn't just one person or one bank saying that you have maybe withdrawn some money from your bank account or made a deposit. Decentralization is a group of people agreeing that that deposit has been made or some money has been spent. Now you may say, okay, well now everybody agrees that a transaction has been made. Maybe, for example, I've sent my wife a very small sliver of Bitcoin, being that it's I don't know, $118,000 today or something like this in U.S. dollars. But I've sent my wife a very small amount of Bitcoin. Well, where do we record that transaction? Well, that's what the blockchain is it is a digital ledger. It is effectively the place of where all those transactions have been recorded. Why was Bitcoin ever created? Well, I'll tell you, a little tiny brief history. You can probably find some longer, lengthier history or dive down the rabbit hole in this situation. But Bitcoin was created by a guy or person or even group back in 2009 named Satoshi Nakamoto. He's kind of anonymous, or they're kind of anonymous. We don't really know who it is, but it was really created in the response to the 2008 financial crisis. So, some of us that have been around for, 20, 30 years remember that crash of the housing market, foreclosures, bad lending, these types of things, or risky lending, I should say. And this was in response to that somebody wanted to come up with a financial system that would be independent of government control and independent of financial institutions. So you may be asking yourself, well, what can I even do with Bitcoin? Well, there's basically a few different things you can do with Bitcoin. The first being just investing. You know, people are going to buy Bitcoin in hopes that it goes up in value. They then sell it in their currency, you know, US dollars or whatever, and hope to make some profits on it. The second thing that people get into Bitcoin for would be to use it as alternative currency. So if the currency that you're in, for me, it's US dollars, ever gets devalued or severely inflated, like a lot of people know, dollar today doesn't buy what it used to. You know, you've been bamboozled is one of my favorite commercials on TV right now. But people want to think of it as an alternative to US dollars in the future. So if the US dollar or your currency goes bad or defunct, that you will have something else to barter with or pay for goods and services with. So like silver, like gold, there's only a certain amount of Bitcoin that will ever be made. And so that's kind of the argument there, is that it is a commodity like silver, gold, and other things that you could use to trade with if your current currency doesn't work anymore. And the last thing that people hope that Bitcoin turns into is basically a way to pay for things, not necessarily a barter in some sort of dollar collapse or something like that, but actually today that I can go to the grocery store, pay for my groceries, go to the gas station, pay for my gas with Bitcoin. There are some companies and there are some businesses out there that do currently accept Bitcoin, but right now it's a pretty few and far between situations. So, you know, people do hope that this becomes more adopted so we can just use Bitcoin as a payment method for goods and services. So that's Bitcoin in a nutshell. You know, the things to remember is it's digital, it's a digital currency, it's decentralized, so a bunch of people are keeping records of things on their blockchain or their ledger, and it is open 24/7. Okay, you can send stuff any time of the day, and you don't need a middle person, you don't need a government involved. It is all kind of community based. All right. With that in mind, I do want to start putting this at the end of my videos, that this information is for educational purposes and informational, and maybe even just plain old entertainment if you get any kind of giggles out of this. It is not instructions for you to go out and buy a ton of Bitcoin today. It is not financial advice. All right, so I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, like it down below. If you find somebody in your family struggling with what the heck is Bitcoin, share this video with them. If you find that this kind of content benefits you, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. All right, until next time, peace.